Thanks for coming back. Here are the world news headlines. So much at stake as Greek talks start. UK energy firms may face price cap. He's only been on the job for 24 hours, but big things are anticipated of Greece's new finance minister, arriving for an emergency summit in Brussels. Euclid Chakaloto seemed a much calmer prospect than his predecessor, but it was still a cold welcome from Eurogroup chairman Jeroen Dijsselbloem. He stated, "The pressure is especially on the Greeks. The banks are closed and the situation is difficult. I think the Greek government has an interest in coming up with serious and credible solutions soon." For Europe too, though, there's a lot at stake. The dreaded G word now a very real possibility. Here's what EU Commissioner for Economic and Monetary Affairs, Pierre Moscovici, had this to say.
Greece, it would be a failure. It would be a terrible mistake. It would be a collective failure. We don't want it. The Commission doesn't want it.
Even then, that's no guarantee there'll be a deal. The bloc appears to be split over how much leniency to give Greece, and time is not on their side. Greece's banks are on the edge of a collapse, and it owes 3.5 billion euros to the ECB in less than 2 weeks. Chris Beauchamp, market analyst of IG, have this to say.
If they don't make that one, they really will be beyond the pale or beyond all hope of rescue, I think. So we do have to worry about that one. That is the big date coming up on the deadline. But of course, everything hinges on the next sort of 12 hours, really. If you get some sort of deal in Europe that tides them over beyond that point, maybe for a month to allow more room for more negotiations, then you could conceivably expect them to get past that deadline. But it's a very big if.
Another if is Greece's stock exchange. Closed down for 9 days so far, it could reopen on Wednesday if there's an agreement. A billion-pound ripoff. The verdict of a year-long investigation into the UK's energy sector. Britain's competition watchdog scolding the country's biggest suppliers, accusing them of altogether overcharging households £1.2 billion annually between 2009 and 2013. Reuters energy correspondent Carolyn Schaps is on the story.
They have seen a discrepancy in those prices charged by the larger suppliers and those by the smaller suppliers. And they're suggesting to actually introduce perhaps a price cap that would limit the amount of money that customers can be charged on certain tariffs.
Brits have witnessed their energy bills double in the last decade, leading to allegations that utilities were cheating them. The Big Six under fire include Centrica, SSE, Scottish Power, RWE, npower, E.ON, and EDF. They were acting within the law, but exploiting customers who didn't shop around for the latest deals. Most of the firms have welcomed the regulator's discovery, relieved that the result put an end to questions of compassion in the market. But Britain's biggest energy supplier, Centrica, stated it still has concerns. The watchdog vowed to publish its final motions by the end of the year. Samsung Electronics is keeping investors on edge with weak earnings guidance on the back of sluggish smartphone sales. Second quarter operating profit probable of declining 4% from a year earlier to about $6.1 billion, a tad lower than analysts had anticipated with a $6.2 billion forecast, and quarterly revenue dropping 8.3% from last year to about $42 billion, well below the $47 billion analysts had predicted, in marking the fifth consecutive quarter of decline. Initially anticipated to advance the numbers for Q2, sales of its flagship's Galaxy S6 fell short, as analysts believe Samsung failed to manufacture enough of the phones to meet current demands. And now, as new iPhones could kick off in the fall, the window for selling more of the high-end devices may be declining fast. Samsung will reveal its final second quarter results later this month. The first day of the running of the bulls at the San Fermin Festival took place in the northern Spanish city of Pamplona, with a total of 11 runners being injured. 3 of those taken to hospitals are reported to be in critical condition after being gored by bull horns. 2 of the 3 men are said to be from the United States, and the other injured man is from the United Kingdom. The 6 animals from the Jandala stock breeders only took 2 minutes and 23 seconds to make their way through the streets of Pamplona to the city's bull ring. The notoriously slippery surface of the path due to the previous night's festivity led many of the bulls to lose their footing. Every year, thousands of tourists from Spain and across the globe arrive in Pamplona to participate in the San Fermin Festival. One man, Larry Belcher, from the United States, who lives in the Spanish city of Valladolid, explained the ritual he undergoes over the past 40 years as he takes part in the running of the bulls. Another tourist from the U.S. city of Houston in Texas, Peter C. Remington, is celebrating his 25th year participating in the running of the bulls. Beautiful flowers, flowing gowns, and feminine patterns graced the runway at Versace's Haute Couture show in Paris Fashion Week on Tuesday. Celebrity favorite Versace had been amongst the first to showcase its designs at the 5-day Autumn-Winter 2015-2016 Fashion Week, showcasing chiffon dresses worn with floral crowns on a glass catwalk covered with orchids. Using a palette of soft pink, lilac, and pale gray, as well as hints of orange, turquoise, and black, designer Donatella Versace designed her evening gowns with floral motifs, layered ruffles, and sparkly embellishments. Paris Haute Couture Week runs until Thursday, with about 30 designer labels presenting their collections, including Fendi. The crowds were in full support in Los Angeles for the birthday celebration of a Beatles legend, Ringo Starr, who turned 75, and he requested everyone to join him in a global call for peace and love. He wanted his fans to use the hashtag peace and love. He says, "I was asked the question, what would you like for your birthday? And I said, well, it would be great if everybody in the world could say peace and love. Peace and love at noon on July the 7th. So people are doing it. I am blessed." It's a tradition he started 10 years ago when he was asked a simple question during an interview. Starr made his name with the Beatles during his 20s, and he still thinks of himself as a man with a young mind. Starr is proving that he still feels fit and young by saying he'll continue on drumming. Following are the weather and New York Stock Exchange reports. Thank you for watching VBS TV Business News Edition. We hope our program has been helpful to you. Until tomorrow, this is Rachel Dare saying goodbye.